Segment 2, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Check all of our shows over the last 8 years on the web at ntnm.org. Everything is on YouTube, every single last show. Segment, almost 900 of them, community policing, caps24.org. Hope you enjoyed the previous segment with the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, and you'll show up at their event September 16th. This is my best relevant show in months and months, because I've got two really worthy causes here. And Mary Hunter, who's a community activist, in the 39th Ward. And I also want to thank Gina Fong for, helping make the arrangements too. Mary brought to my attention the fact that Northeastern, which is a commuter school and built as a commuter school, is looking to eminent domain parts of Bryn Mawr Avenue, and not to mention Foster Avenue in upcoming years. And considering the fact that the state is about $1 gazillion under budget, and I happened to see a cute little Facebook post today that said that a scientists have decided that in 2880 an asteroid will destroy the Earth, and that'll be about the time Illinois is caught up with its debts, which would be a shame. So in all this debt, that's gonna, they're gonna go away. Well, I'm gonna let these guys tell you about it. So I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves.
I'm Kim. I'm a resident of the Hollywood Park North Park neighborhood.
I'm Brett Stockdill. I'm a sociology professor at Northeastern Illinois University.
I'm Bill Tong. I'm co-owner of a business in West Bryn Mawr. It's a Chinese restaurant that's been in operation since 1954.
Okay, and when did you first find out about the situation?
We were told through a letter that came approximately 6 months ago. The letter came from the university that offered to buy the property, but it really wasn't written with any sense of urgency or seriousness. We discovered later on that some of the other property owners had the same opinion. We're not interested in selling, why should we respond? And then several months later, another letter came and said, we will invoke eminent domain. So then they said, we really want it. Basically, they sprung it upon us. They never negotiated with us. They never really formally talked to us, individually or collectively.
University?
Yeah, the university. It came in the form of a letter.
The dates that I have, Bill, were January 27th. That's when they sent the letter to the property owners. And then April 23rd was when you received the letter, which threatened eminent domain. And then the eminent domain was filed August 8th, if I remember correctly. Yes.
So they actually have filed for eminent domain right now?
They have filed.
Domain, yes,
Wow.
unfortunately.
The first hearing is on September 30th.
September 30th, which is pretty close. And so what do you as a community do? And, let's understand, too, that each person here has a different role. You're a business owner. You're actually a professor at Northeastern. And, you're a resident. You've got a home are you going to get eminent domained, or?
Well, who knows? We never thought that they would invoke eminent domain on Bryn Mawr, so what's to stop them from using it 10 or 15 or 20 years down the line for the residences across the street from Northeastern? And that's where I live, across the street from Northeastern. Yes.
Gotcha. On Central Park over there? Or?
No, on St. Louis.
Okay.
Yes, directly across.
There's a more personal stake as well. My sister and my 80-year-old mother live upstairs. There's an apartment above the restaurant. When we operated the restaurant the first 30 years, we lived there. My father lived there till the end of his life, and my mother still lives there. So she would also be evicted as well if eminent domain goes through.
And from a Northeastern standpoint, how long have you been a professor there?
12 years.
And sociology it is that you teach? Or?
Yes.
So, Northeastern was built as a commuter school. It's always been a commuter school. What are your thoughts on the dormitory?
Well, as you mentioned, we are 100% commuter school, and I think that's what we do really well. We educate students who, for a variety of reasons, some for family responsibilities, some because of their income level, some because of work responsibilities. They can't pick up and leave and go to another city somewhere else. And they also can't afford some of the bigger name universities in the area. And we, for decades, have done a fantastic job of educating these students. And I think this project threatens the mission of our school because the administration has enacted different policies that serve to try to relegate our students who are commuter students to a second-class status. And you'll see across the nation that's typically what happens at schools that have commuter students as well as dorms. So I think that this project really threatens the mission of our university.
And just to comment on that too, I've read through the package that you can get at the Office of the President there, and their mission, vision, values, it boasts of honesty, respect, and transparency in an environment that's participatory and supportive. And invoking eminent domain is none of the above, if you ask me. So yes, I'm in absolute agreement with Brett, which is why one of the reasons why we're so against this. They have alternatives. They have a large piece of property, a total of 67 acres, with ample space to build upon. And they do have a section of that slated for dormitories, projected to be completed in 2019, if I remember correctly. But for some reason, and nobody knows why, they have elected to invoke eminent domain on the Bryn Mawr properties. Well, actually, I shouldn't say nobody knows why. They are selling it under the guise of economic development. Yeah.
I hear that. Now, have you gone to the elected officials, various elected officials, to try to talk to them and see what's going on in the university itself? Or?
Yes.
We met with the Alderwoman, Alderwoman Lorino in April. Yeah. And at that point, she said that she didn't know much about the project and she couldn't take a stand on it. But it seems clear that she's actually been working with the administration probably for a couple years. So it's perplexing that she would tell us one thing but be doing another.
You mean an alderman lied? Oh my goodness.
But it's not too late for her to do the right thing and actually serve her constituents rather than a private developer, because ultimately that's what's going to happen. Approximately $50 million is going to be given, our tax dollars from the state of Illinois, to a private developer.
And this is $50 million, and the fact of the matter is that these people would, it's not going to increase the number of students in the university, is it?
No.
I doubt it. To me, it really is akin to the whole parking meter fiasco here in Chicago. Well, because it's a public-private partnership that's going to take public funds and hand them over to a private developer.
That's a really good analogy.
I have another analogy. I would call it the stalking horse analogy. The private interests are driving the deal, but the public domain thing requires a public entity. So the university takes the heat, but they also secure the public domain seizure rights, and then the developer remains hidden until they're ready to close in on a deal. That's what I think is going on.
Yeah, I'll tell you from, like, I'm in the 50th ward, and you've got Senator Silverstein. Unfortunately, we do too. And we've also got Alderman Silverstein, and I urge anybody that wants to run against her to contact me, please. And it's too late to run against him this time around, but next time I can find you people with money and help. We used to have at Indian Boundary Park, which is one of the really nice parks in the city, we had a zoo. Not a big zoo, a little zoo. When our previous alderman, Bernie Stone, who for better or worse tried to look out for the community at least some of the time, if not a good deal of the time, when the Lincoln Park Zoo people told him, you know, hey, we're going to close the zoo down, you know, Stone would go right to Mayor Daley. He'd go to the papers. He'd start yelling, make a scene. We had public meetings. Actually, it's one of the first, we televised public meetings in the early 90s. And the park district was going to close it down, the zoo. And we complained so loud and so hard it attracted enough attention that they stopped it. Now they just closed it down in the last year. When they told Alderman Deborah the Clueless Silverstein, you know, hey, we're going to close this down, her answer to the community is, well, they're going to close it down. There's nothing I can do about it. So basically, you know, they're taking orders from the powers that be that tell them what to do, and they're not acting to the benefit of the people of the community, which is who elected them in the first place, albeit not knowing what they were going to get and probably regret it beyond belief. But that's why you need to run against somebody. But that's not the point of the thing.
It seems that that's a common thing. I mean, right now that they are all, and they being Alderman Lorino, D'Amico, Silverstein.
That's John D'Amico, who's
Yes.
actually Lorino's nephew and a state representative.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And they're all hiding behind it is now a legal issue, so they cannot take a position on it. There is nothing that they can do about it. But we're fairly certain, actually we know for a fact that Alderman Lorino was fully aware of the situation prior to the university invoking eminent domain because she met with the business owners. What did she do then? She had a chance to take a position then, and there was nothing that happened then.
Yeah, one of the things I advise you to do is check the D2s, which are the financial contribution forms, and who's given the money, and find out who these developers are, because you are very likely to see that those developers, I'm not saying that he have for sure for a fact, but I'm saying it is so likely that they have contributed money to Lorino, D'Amico, and Silverstein. And in fact, in the case of Silverstein, the worst slum landlord in our neighborhood, and I run the cap speed here, we organized, 25 people came to court to protest, to show the judge and the state's attorney, we don't want this guy. Go into court, and who's defending the slum landlord? Ira Silverstein, same state senator you're having trouble with. So, you really need to look at as much as you possibly can, because this is how these people operate. And so as a community, what are you going to do from here? Well,
what we have done to date is we are in full support of the property owners and the residents on Bryn Mawr. We have a petition going on change.org, which now has almost 1,000 signatures, if I understand correctly. We also had a petition.
What's the website that they can find it at? Or do you have a website?
There is a website, and it's www.change.org.
Okay.
And then our website is www.neiulandgrab.com.
Oh, a nice name. I like that.
They can get more information there.
So www.neiulandgrab.com.
Correct.
Right.
And the change.org I'm familiar with, but they could find like 8,000 petitions
Exactly.
on it.
Right,
So,
right.
Go to the NEIU Land Grab.
Right. And we're trying to engage all of the community members in the area to educate them a little bit more about what eminent domain is. I think we all realize that the federal government, the state government has the legal right to exercise eminent domain. The question here is this right for them to exercise it for this purpose, to build dormitories? So we're educating the neighborhood and hoping that we can get a lot of support with them. And we have gotten a lot of support from the residents. That's displayed through lots of lawn signs that are out on the residents' lawns and the business property owners' lawns, and petition signatures.
Well, they've been there over 50 years, and they haven't needed a dorm yet, so I don't think they need one now. We've only got seconds left. So
the university can't answer this simple question. We've asked repeatedly. They own 67 acres of land, most of which is underused or vacant. Why do they not build their dorms there first? Why are they destroying and tearing down established businesses, some dating back 60 years, on Bryn Mawr Avenue first? Why?
On that note, we're going to have to cut things off, and I'm so bad at names, and I apologize. You're Bill?
Bill?
Brett?
Kim. Okay.
Yes.
That's a short one that I remember. I want to thank you so much. I want to thank Mary Hunter and Gina Fong. I urge you guys to do like some kind of public meeting, and we can talk about that off the air afterwards. And you haven't heard the last of this subject on the show, because we're going to keep hammering it. And I'll try to put you guys in touch with as many local reporters as I possibly can on the subject.
That'd be great.
I want to thank you very much. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. Thank you for joining us, and bye, everybody.